7 o'clock, call the meeting to order. Would everyone please rise for the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Jim, will you call the roll, please?
Yep. Butler.
Here.
Jordan. Lipscomb. Here. Oakridge. Smith.
Here.
Thrash.
Here.
Vincenzo.
Here. Okay, we got 5 present. I want to thank Jen. Jacob's a little under the weather this evening, and so Jen is very happily stepping in to fill in for Jacob.
Thank you, Jen.
And I appreciate it very much because she's going to have to do half of what I'd have to do, and I'll mess it up. Okay, first item on the agenda is the minutes from the March 6th meeting. Is anyone here did not get their copy of the minutes? Does anyone have a question or comment on those minutes? Okay, hearing none, I will entertain a motion to accept those minutes as the record. Christine? And Tara, second. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Would you call the roll vote, please?
Butler.
Yes.
Jordan. Oh, wait. Do I just skip the absence?
Call them anyway.
Okay, I'm sorry. Lipscomb.
Yes.
Oakridge. Smith.
Yes.
Thrash.
Yes.
And Vincenzo.
Yes. Okay, the minutes have been approved unanimously. 5-0, those are the official minutes. Under citizens hearing tonight, we'll bring him up first, is Mr. Bianconi. He has a presentation that has to do with the JV Green Team and a situation that they have coming up here very shortly. So, Mike, if you would, you step up to the mic there and introduce yourself.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Mayor, everyone. My name is Mike Bianconi. I'm currently a township trustee in Peace Township. Well, for many, many years, and used to be a county commissioner for 8 years ago also. I'm here tonight, though, because of Jefferson Belmont Solid Waste Authority. I serve on that board. And this isn't really new information. Some of the dates have been changed. But just to enlighten the public and you guys, so many times, even in my township and throughout the whole country, really, people complain about, I can't get rid of tires, I can't get rid of electronics, I can't get rid of things. I tend to hoard them, put it behind the garage, or over the hill, maybe on your own properties, I don't know. So there's 3 pieces of paper I dropped off in your thing. They're color-coded, but it means nothing. But Saturday, June 24th, we have a big tire cleanup, and that's out the Belmont County Fairgrounds, just not far from here. And you can't bring tractor-trailer tires, you can't have rims on tires, but any kind of tires, other than tractor-trailer, you have a big car, pickup trucks, that you're more than welcome to come out. This isn't new. We've had it out there every year, just trying to educate people and say, I didn't know, no one told me, or there's not an avenue to get rid of these items. So that's the tires. The next page, I think, is a yellow page. It might be anyhow. And it's about hazardous waste collections. On June 17th up in Steubenville, and you can go up there also. You can go anywhere. It doesn't have to be because you live in Richland Township or the city of St Clairsville. You have to go to St Clairsville. You can go to Warren Township, and you can go anywhere. You can go to every one of them if you want. You have that much stuff. You can go to them. But the first was June 17th up in Steubenville, and then here locally it's going to be the High University Eastern Branch on September 23rd. From 9 to 11, it goes through a whole list of things that they'll accept and won't accept. And they recycle everything, and it's really nice. You pull up, you stay in your car, and they take it out of your pickup truck or whatever, and they take it out of your vehicle and dispose, or put it in the right receptacle. The third piece of paper, I think it's a white piece of paper, it might be, is the whole county, our county. And it says Township Cleanup, but that's just a name. We had to start somewhere. I mean, I'm in the Peace Township. In my township, I have the village of Yorkville, city of Martins Ferry, Village of Brookside and Village of Bridgeport and the township. So we have a lot of combined governments. So years ago, they decided to call them township cleanups. Doesn't mean if you live in the city of St. Clairsville, you can't go. So kind of forget that from the mind. People say, well, I live in Belmont, or I live in Blair, or I live in St. Clairsville. Doesn't matter. You can go to every one of those. You can go to them twice if you want to. The list I gave you there, and it gives the times and dates of where you are. Wheeling Township just had theirs. That's not far from here. Maybe some residents from your city went there. Maybe they didn't. But there's more lists on down through avenues for them to go to. And it's self-explanatory. Again, this is not new. This isn't. We just create this. My point here tonight is just try to get the information out to the public. And that's about it. I want to compliment, I forgot the lady, I'm terrible with names.
It's done.
She helped me get here. I mean, with the technology, I couldn't get into the meeting, so she helped me with that. I want to thank you for that, Mr. Vilas, Mayor and council people. If I can answer any questions, I'm not afraid to talk, believe me. Yes, ma'am.
It says take, like TVs, ask about possible electronic vendors. Do you have any idea? Because I've got 2 TVs that need.
We are going to be, we don't have that date down right now for electronic place to take them to. There is a place in Steubenville, and I don't know where that place is, but there is a place in Steubenville to take them to. You can take them up there. But we will have a place here in Belmont County, just like we did with the tires and the electronics. What I ask everybody to do, don't throw it over a hill, don't throw it in the garbage, hold on to it, and we'll have that for you to get rid of it. I ask people not to do that, please. Mayor, I'm not answering your question, but I am.
No, that's okay.
At a later date. And I'll get that date to you.
Thank you. I was just going to say, get it to us if you don't mind.
Yes, ma'am.
So we know. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mike. Does anybody have any questions for Mike?
No, I just want to say thank you. These are good events, and thank you for promoting it. A lot of people don't know about it, and it's a great thing. It's very organized when they do these, and you want to dispose of your junk legally, so it's a great thing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. On recycling, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question, but
go ahead. No, go ahead.
Do you take on any of these, like for the fluorescent light ballast?
Oh, geez.
I've had somebody ask me that just the other day. If we knew of a place that would take those.
That's an electron?
It says bulbs, 8-foot and 4-foot bulbs.
These would be the ballast.
These are the ballasts.
Yeah, that's electronic.
No.
So it runs it.
After that says ballasts. No.
No ballast?
No, well, it says no paints, liquids, household batteries, fluorescent tubes, ballast. But we do have another one, another day. Let me do some research on my own. I'm not afraid to say I don't know.
Okay.
And I'll get hold of the mayor. Maybe she could spread that information to you.
Thanks, Mike.
You know about recycling. You have some here. You have a lot. These are JD Green containers here, and we encourage everybody to use them. It's I've said 90% of the world tries to do everything right, and we have 10% that just don't. And they throw deer carcasses in there. You'd be surprised what we find on these things. I haven't found that yet, but we find a lot of things that shouldn't go in there. We encourage people to try to do it the right way. Look at the sign, read it. If you can't read the sign, there's pictures, what to put on there. And it's not for us, it's for the people after us, our generation after us, So that's all we're asking you to do. And anything we can do to help you, and anything, so let us know or contact us. JP Ring Team, we have a building right on 331 there, right where the injection well is. We bought a building where we have an operation in Belmont County right there. If I can do anything, just give me a holler anytime. Thank you, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Vilas.
Any other questions?
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Mike. This also gives the public with the 2 dates, June 17th and September 23rd, coming out now. That gives the public plenty of time to gather up what they have, and they'll have plenty of notice to get it out there. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to the mayor's report.
I got one. Thank you, Jim. We are inching closer to spring, and that's why I had the air conditioner on JC, but he seems to think it's getting too cold. But we're hoping the weather starts getting consistently better, and we are very lucky that we did not have to use that much salt, and we got through the year with such a small amount of snow and ice. So building projects are starting. I attended a meeting with Jeremy this week concerning development of the parcel of land on the east side of St. Clairsville. We met with the so-called developer. She says they may have someone interested in developing. That's the property out across from Sheets. but would not disclose to us who it might be, but we'll keep the city apprised of how that goes. I had the pleasure of attending the unveiling of the new fire truck for Cumberland Trail. I call it the Beast. I've never seen a fire truck that big, but it is designed by the department to their specifications and recommendations, and it holds 1,000 gallons of water. And what that means is if they're fighting a fire in the county or not right in the city, they do not have to rely on a fire hydrant to at least get started fighting it. And that's a wonderful thing. Attended the Planning Commission meeting last Monday night, and a request was made by the developer to change zoning on the 17-acre parcel out past Respecs. That will continue with council sometime in the future. Developer plans were presented. Many people outside of the city limits had their voices heard and their concern, but again, that will be up to our council, and that'll come up sometime here in the future. And I was going to say something about the presentation tomorrow, but I'll let you handle that. Okay. We had a long meeting again regarding water rates and structures, and as we had a discussion in utilities, there is no pretty answer to this, but it will continue that discussion. And again, I know Jeremy has put a lot of hours into trying to find out alternatives to what we can do as far as raising rates. I also contacted, as I told the finance, I talked to Don Jones' office, sent letters to Frank Hoagland, to the governor, any additional money that might be out there. Please keep us in the loop, because the price has gone up for the project we need to do, and it's going to leave us short, or else having to cut off part of the city. So we're asking, so we'll see if anything else is out there. So, and that's pretty much everything. So if you have any questions, and again, I will keep everybody apprised on any new developments that happen, but that's about it right now, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Does anyone have any questions for the mayor? Okay, thank you again. Okay, we'll move on to Service Director Jeremy Greenwood.
Good evening, Council. Council items before us tonight? None. 2 meetings in a row. That means that we're going to get really slammed soon here. Also wanted to let council members know that the no outlet sign is in. I think it's been installed. I'm not sure. I didn't get to confirm whether it got installed or not, but it is in. So it will be installed soon on Butler Street. Had 10 different meetings since the last council meeting. Completed projects. I want to remind council Arbor Day is actually officially scheduled for May 19th now at 11 a.m. at Central Park. We did manage to purchase a used truck for the electric department. Trout was released into the reservoir by ODNR. I want to thank them for their help with that. That's a pretty substantial project. Water nodes and meters are still being installed. That's kind of a constant thing now. We're getting to the point where the nodes the batteries in them are dying from when they were first originally installed about 10 years ago. We fixed a water line break on Neff Street. The crawler camera was ordered. Working on the water and sewer rate study. We started hitting on that in finance, but I'm reviewing the findings. I'm going to have a representative here at the next meeting. They'll be here for the utility meeting and then for council meeting for any questions. The I-70 water line, both sides were extended. The existing concrete pipe was had the closed circuit TV in it. It appears to be in good shape, so they've ordered the liner for that. That will be in a couple weeks, and then we can start rolling with installing water line. I'm trying to obtain that video, and we'll share it with council once I have that. Upcoming projects, we're talking about paving and potentially tarring and chipping. Mapped out the water line breaks for the last 10 years. We're going through it. I've got numbers on that if anyone would like to see. Basically, in the last 10 years, we've had 218 water line breaks that would either be addressed in the upcoming phase 1 and phase 2 or 2A water line distribution, and the phase B, which got cut from the project, but we have designed and ready to go. So there was a total of 398. So that's about 54% of our water line breaks in the last 10 years can be addressed with this new project that we have coming up. Working with an engineer on our sinkhole that we've got with the collapsing culvert. Also working on them on a potential for a bypass road. The gas aggregation letter should be mailed out in the next week or so. Also want to note that there is a scheduled power outage. It's listed for the 25th, which is Saturday, but it's kind of confusing. I want to make sure everyone knows. It is actually from midnight Friday night, which starts 0 hour at Saturday, until 4 a.m. There's 2 others that are going to be scheduled for later in the year. This is due to the AEP work and then them connecting into our substation down there at the Hess area down by the bike trail. I mentioned the water nodes. We're still working on installing them. The I-70, the liner's been ordered. Route 40 water line extension, working on funding sources for that. Water distribution project, we have a pre-construction meeting this Friday. Shop drawings have been submitted to the engineer. Materials are being ordered and laydown yards being set up, so that's going to start very soon. I do believe today was supposed to be the drone flights, but I have not had confirmation as if that happened or not. Still working on the water agreement with the county, building projects. We still got the train depot renovation, the junior rec, the police locker room, police lobby, the K9 dryer and wash station. Still updating the administrative policies and procedures, our standard details, working on inflow and infiltration control plan with our new superintendent. AFSCME contracts are also actually going to start also. The 1929 water tank was due to be inspected last Friday, but we had to cancel it due to the rain and the wind. Once that's done, then we're going to determine what we're going to need to do with all 3 of the tanks and go from there. Department-wise, pretty much the same thing. The electric department, we have actually 2 openings for linemen. So if anybody knows anybody, please have them submit a resume and application. We've had it advertised in the paper, but we're going to be down short 2 guys very shortly here. Pole replacement, service work, disconnect, street lights, substation maintenance, truck maintenance. We're going to start tree trimming soon. We got a couple tree trimming companies that are going to come in and help us out in a couple areas. Water and wastewater. Our new wastewater superintendent's acclimating to the change with a new plant and new personnel. We mentioned the water nodes. Water line work is constant. Updating policies and procedures. The I-70 project, the distribution project. Still hauling sludge from the sludge lagoon. When we can fix it and get in, we're fixing hydrants and curb boxes and valves. We've had 2 water line breaks this year. One was scheduled, but it still counts as a break. Water nodes are a constant thing. We're getting them in and setting up appointments to go get them switched out in the buildings. Street department, patching potholes. We ordered another 100 tons of salt. That should be delivered this week. We're doing ditching, street repair, culverts. Mentioned the sign replacement in different areas, and then the new signage going in. Rec department, we mentioned the trout already, going through it. Eric is working on summer concert series, which I see Christy passed out, so she can go over all of that. Police department, still working on the locker room downstairs. Most of the lockers have been assembled, right guys? Okay. The drug hood has been ordered along with the tables that it'll sit on. Good of the city. There's been a couple of people that are not feeling well. I know Anita went home not feeling well today. So kind of keep everybody watching and going through it. There's some nasty stuff thrown through. And actually had a nomination for Employee of the Month. Yeah. So I'll just kind of read the nomination. This one's going to be a weird one. Officer Wayland and K9 Ruger were involved in a pursuit on 1/23/23. The vehicle pursuit ended and occupants bailed out and ran from officers. All 4 of the occupants were apprehended quickly. The driver of the car was headed on a call from the jail, was heard on a call from the jail that he stashed the drugs on someone's front porch. Officer Wayland made the effort to interview the suspect and convinced him to tell him where he hid the drugs. Suspect was not from here, so a description of the area was very vague. Officer Wayne went back to the general area and he located the house and the drugs. These were extremely dangerous drugs, and his effort likely kept them out of an innocent hands who could have been severely injured or killed just by handling them. Instead of just stopping after the arrest, Officer Wayne went above and beyond the normal follow-up to ensure the safety of our residents. For this, I wish to nominate him for the Employee of the Month. This type of police work is truly making a difference in St. Clairsville. So, actually, is our first two-time, although he's had to share it both times, one with another officer and another one with his dog.
Thank you.
Stand up and you stay here.
I'll make sure Ruger gets a good treat tonight.
Yes, we'll get it through.
This is photo.
I'm like all the way over at this.
I'll just do this. See, close enough. He can get it after the meeting.
Thank you, Jay, for all you do. It's very appreciated.
We'll get a treat now.
Good.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Jeremy.
And that would be everything.
Okay, thank you, Jeremy. Does anyone have any questions for the service director?
You're saying the I-70 project, we're still 2 weeks out on that, or?
They had a closed circuit camera, the existing concrete culvert. There's no holes or in it, no major cracks. They're going to be able to actually get the liner, so the liner has to be manufactured to the specs of what we need. We didn't order that yet just because of the unknown and then not knowing if we were going to have to abandon everything that we had planned. Going through it now that it's been cameraed and is okay, they've got it ordered. As soon as it gets in, we're going to get them there, and then it's just laying pipe after that.
Okay. So we knew at the beginning there would have to be a line,
Yes.
or whether it was good or not.
Yes.
It just, we didn't know.
That was part of the condition that ODOT put on us to allow us to use the existing culvert, the concrete culverts, because it's from 1964. So it's a little bit on the old side.
So
But
we, as soon as we get that liner, what kind of timeline do we have?
a week, maybe two,
A week?
depending on the weather and everything else that's going on. Part of the issue that we've had right now was obviously with AEP doing their work in there. They were scheduled to do the helicopter flight last Monday. It got bumped because of weather, and that was actually when our guys were in there with the contractor
Yeah.
trying to clear out the culvert going through it.
And
So.
the helicopter told them they couldn't work around where the
Yes.
helicopter was landing, so.
And then there were
Really?
people like the mayor that were standing out there in the middle of the street taking pictures of the helicopter causing
Yes.
traffic disruption.
He got a call from AEP, and I won't repeat exactly what he said, but he got so disgusted. He goes, some jerk is out there in the road taking pictures, and I had to send the police down because AEP is complaining. And I said to him, would the pictures look anything like this? And he went, you're the one, huh? I said, yep. Lucy Ricardo is alive and well, but it was right in my backyard. I couldn't help taking pictures. And in case anyone wants to know, again, this is my backyard, so. But yes, and I'm hoping it's done soon because I can't get to my grass to cut it. I'm just planting.
Tom will send you a letter.
Don't let it get too high.
So, I'm done.
Any other questions for Jeremy? Okay, thank you, Jeremy.
Welcome.
Okay, move on to Police Chief Matt Arbenz. Matt, do you have a report this evening?
I can't say more than a couple words without coughing, so no report.
Okay. Move on to Finance Director Annette Weldon.
Good evening, everyone. I will be attending the Ohio Municipal League training next Monday through Wednesday, and pretty excited about that. Hopefully I can bring some news back. It'll be my first live training since I've been here in 2020. And just as a heads up, Elizabeth and I are working on, there will be a police levy renewal this year, so there'll be legislation probably in May, June, sometime in that period.
Yeah.
We had a finance committee meeting tonight. I'll let Dawn share on that. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Annette? Okay, thank you. Move on to Planning and Zoning. Mr. Murphy.
Thanks.
On Monday, March 13th, the Planning Commission held its public hearing regarding the proposed rezoning of the 17.56 acre parcel on the west side of the city from office and institution to commercial. At its meeting, the Planning Commission voted to recommend to Council the approval of the rezoning. Due to timeline and notification requirements and public notification requirements, the official recommendation from the Planning Commission to Council will take place at the next Council meeting, which will be April 3rd. We want to keep everything legal, obviously. At that meeting, a report to Council will be presented. Council will then direct me to set up the required public hearing before Council, which will be held on May 15th. This will be a public hearing, so comment from residents or people in the area can be made on the request. On the second matter, this week I'll submit our annual required stormwater report to the Ohio EPA. I've been working on and off on that over the past month. Today I did receive phone calls from Zayo. You may recall that last year Council approved Zayo's request to have 4 conduit within the city, roughly between Butler Street and Wine Alley. Most of that path will be on Woodrow Avenue. One of those conduit will be for the city for us to use as we see fit. That project should start next week. There is a new single-family home to be constructed on Narda Street, just above the elementary school. That should start maybe next week or the next few weeks. And many of you, I haven't seen it yet, but on the west side where the Trinity site is, they do have a sign out there now that says coming soon. So I didn't see it, but I did receive a phone call about it, some positive responses. So that's it.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Anybody have any questions for Tom? Mike?
Yeah, Tom, April 3rd, what was that date for?
April 3rd, that's the date at the next council meeting where the official, I'll say, presentation from the Planning Commission on their recommendation will be. At that meeting is when council will then direct me to set up the required public hearing before council. So we'll set that up for May 15th.
So the public hearing is required?
Yes, before City Council.
Have we done that in the past? I don't remember doing that in the past.
Yeah, whenever there was a rezoning, there would be a public hearing. For example, when the updates to the planning and zoning code were done to the map and to the text, I think it was 2 years ago now, there was that required public hearing before City Council.
So if we get legislation, we won't get legislation on April 3rd. We'll probably get it the next...
Yeah, you wouldn't get legislation.
April 17th?
No. You have to have your public hearing first.
Won't be till May.
So that public hearing would be May 15th. Then at that May 15th meeting, that public hearing, at the end of it, that's when council will make a decision on, are you going to accept the Planning Commission's recommendation, deny it? And then after that is when you direct myself and Elizabeth to draw up an ordinance on whatever your decision might have been.
Can that May 15th date be moved up? It seems like it's kind of far out.
No, we have to follow our code and any publication requirements. Again, we have to keep things legal, and we want to make sure we do that, especially in a rezoning of
So
property.
what's the code say as far as the time that we have?
Well, there has to be a minimum of like a 30-day prior to the hearing, and then also from that recommendation, there's a 45-day requirement. So in other words, you have to put your trust in staff that we do things legally and appropriately.
Is that in our charter, or is that like a state law?
It's a combination of the Ohio Revised Code and our city code.
Okay.
Any other questions for Tom? Okay, thank you, Tom.
All right, you're welcome. And if anybody has questions on the project in the meantime, certainly feel free to contact me.
Okay, we'll move on to the council committees, finance. Mr. Vincenzo.
Oh, yeah, we had a finance meeting tonight. We reviewed within that the financial report for February. Our expenditures are about 21%. Receipts are 22%. We're on track, doing good there. We did review a lot on the, like Jeremy had mentioned, the water and sewer rates, along with some of our city water projects that are going on with Trinity. We did discuss some with the county water agreement that we're still working on. We did, Annette went over with us the State Treasury Asset Reserve, which is the STAR program, and that's going to get us more information on that, just different ways, different routes to do some investments. And that was, well, we did go over a couple of the 3 purchases of the pickup trucks that we have already purchased. And it seems like we're at the end of having to purchase vehicles. We got a couple bigger purchases, dump truck and
If available.
if
But
available, okay. So
we're
that's
also
more to
working
come,
on-
and we're checking on different bids, different prices on them.
yeah.
So more to come on those vehicles. But other than that, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Don. Any questions for Don? Okay, we'll move on to utilities. Tara, do you have a report on utilities this evening?
Not exactly a report, just kind of what we had in finance also has to do with utilities. So our next utility meeting is April 3rd, right? Yeah, at 6:15. And, you know, for other council members, especially, we should really kind of come together and talk further about just our water situation with the county and, you know, that kind of stuff. So just a reminder, and but I don't have anything other than that.
Okay, I'll just throw this out that it's your committee. I'm assuming that there'll probably be some extra discussion on that, and we kind of ran short like this evening, so
Correct.
you might want to think about moving it to 6 o'clock instead of 6:15. But if you want to do that, we need to have at least 48 hours notice to
That was
the
my next
public.
question. So just 48 hours?
It has to be a minimum of 48 hours to the public if we move it earlier.
Okay, can we go ahead and put it in, or do we have
Sure.
to do, okay.
If you
So
wanna
let's
move
put
it
it
up,
in
we
for
can-
6
we can
o'clock,
do
because I
that
think
for
we
the-
have a lot to still discuss
Right.
in that meeting. Our topics go hand in hand with utility and finance, so
That extra 15 minutes will probably
Yes.
go quickly, so.
probably, but we'll put
But
it in
but it's still, we won't be cutting maybe quite as close to the regular
Right.
council meeting.
I'm good with 6 o'clock for April 3rd meeting.
Okay. Police, Mike, do you have a report on police?
I have no report, but I'm hoping our next meeting is April 17th. I'm going to get with Police Chief Matt Arbenz to see if that's agreeable. If there's anything we need to discuss, that's when our next meeting will be.
Mike, could I say something, please?
Yeah.
And I know Chief's having a tough time speaking, but I'm really proud of these guys. Last week, they made a very good drug stop somewhere right in front of the courthouse, and they took a lot of drugs off the street. And I think Ruger had a lot to do with that, and that's wonderful. I mean, the police dog is just a wonderful thing. And also, the outreach program that Greg is kind of spearheading that. I know he and TJ Stewart had helped a couple of elderly people in the past week, and that Greg has developed a really good relationship with Doug Butts, who's in Adult Protective Services, and they've made a couple calls to help a couple of our senior citizens, and I think that's a really important, very positive thing to do. We're also going to take Easter Bunny around to some of the senior centers, and Greg has kind of put all that together. I think that's April 4th, but I'm really proud of the work they do. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, our police department is very good. I mean, we need to keep giving them the tools that they need, whether it's a vehicle, a dog, any additional training. We fully support them.
Absolutely.
Mike, anything else?
No.
Anybody have any questions for Mike? Thank you, Mike. I don't think we can really give our police department enough praise, because these guys all do a great job. So again, we're very, very fortunate here. Okay, Mike, do you have anything on streets north side?
I do not. No report.
Okay, JC, do you have anything on South Side streets?
No report.
Anything on safety?
No report.
Okay, Beth is not here this evening. So we'll move on to Planning Commission. Christie, do you have a report on?
I can never say it better than Tom says it. I do have a copy of the presentation that ICR made to the Planning Commission, if anybody wants to look at it. I do have like maps and everything, small ones. Tom's got the life size stuff. It's a little bit easier to look at. Whoever has not seen it, council members, I would kind of urge you to sit down with Tom before that public hearing next month.
I've got a copy of that too, and I'll leave it in the office. If anybody wants a copy, Jim can make it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm happy to sit down with anyone also. I don't want to just push it off onto Tom, but either one of us, I'm sure.
Thank you, Christie. Anybody have any questions for Christie? Okay, Fire District, Linda's not here tonight. I think, Christie, you have a report.
I do have Linda's report. Cumberland Trail Fire District, the board voted to renew the Employee Assistance Program for a full-time and part-time employee in the amount of $2,369. The board also voted to approve the annual fire and EMS contract between Cumberland Trail and Wheeling Township trustees. The next meeting is April 19th, 8:15 a.m. at the firehouse.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Recreation, Christie.
I passed out the summer concert series. There's some really good bands that Eric has gotten lined up. All of the concerts do have sponsors. He's still waiting to hear back from a couple, so with the exception of the two, but feel pretty confident he will fill those 2 slots also. And he will have the updated list with the sponsor of each event. I'm sure by the next, maybe by the next meeting, maybe not until the meeting after, but Gulfport Energy will be here tomorrow morning to present the city with the check for the new lighting at the amphitheater. The check presentation will be at 10:45 at the amphitheater. The Pittsburgh Pirates Charities alerted Eric today that we will receive our check for $11,000 this week. This money will go towards one of the baseball, softball fields at the junior sports complex. Finally, there is an Easter egg hunt sponsored by Unified Bank. The Easter egg hunt will take place Saturday, April 8th at 10 a.m. The egg hunt is free and available to all kids ages 1 to 12, and this event takes place at Central Park. The next rec board meeting is this Thursday at 4:30.
Okay, thank you, Christie. Does anyone have any questions, comments for Christie?
I just wanted to let everybody know, the one on May 25th, Thursday, which is our kickoff, says Pirates of the Caribbean. That'll be a Jimmy Buffett tribute band. I heard them last year in Zanesville. They are fabulous. And everyone will be required to be there in a Hawaiian shirt and straw hat and sunglasses. So it's mandatory.
I have a letter for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Christie. Do you have anything on Park District for Linda?
She said there is no report. The next meeting is Monday, April 27th at 4:30 p.m. at Preferred Legacy Trust.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's the agenda for this evening. We have no ordinances or resolutions. Elizabeth, do you have anything you want to bring up?
No legislation tonight, which is 2 meetings in a row, which means, like Jeremy said, we'll get slammed probably the next meeting, so.
Enjoy it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that concludes the agenda. Before we adjourn, does anybody have any other questions or comments or anything they want to bring up? Okay, hearing nothing, I need a motion to adjourn. Second, Mike, second. Meeting's adjourned.